7.96 miles, 8 minutes 30 seconds per mile today. I think I'm finally starting to nail down what a slower run is supposed to feel like. Spent this week trying to run more relaxed miles, get rested up. I have a big run coming up tomorrow. I'm going to be shooting for a 20 miler along the lakefront trail. And so going into the week, I just felt super kind of exhausted and tired every morning when I woke up. Everything just felt like really gummy, and my legs just didn't feel great. By the time I got to like after a mile or two into the run, things would always feel fine. I just wanted to kind of give my body a little bit of a chance to recover as I pushed into like would be a couple more weeks of intense training. I've been feeling really nostalgic lately. I'm not really sure why that is. I think what happened was at some point I was looking up information on the upcoming Zoom flying it, and as I was doing that, I came across an old shoe that I hadn't seen in probably about 20 years, and it is the Zoom Flight 95, the Jason Kidds. It's a basketball shoe, and I don't think they were technically Jason Kidd basketball shoes, but I think Jason Kidd was the person that they used to advertise it. He wore them regularly during the NBA season around that time, which was like the height of his career. And it is a pair of shoes that I owned back when I was in high school. I absolutely loved that shoe. It was a shoe from the future. I look at it now and I still think it looks like it's from the future. And so I was looking at pictures of it online as I was looking for information on the Zoom flying it, and like all these memories just started coming back about the shoe, about the times that I was in the shoe. I definitely remember the outsole pattern on that shoe was particularly interesting. That had like, well, the whole shoe was weird, and I thought that it looked from anything like a racing car to like someone's signature, and I just thought it looked really futuristic. It looked like it had carbon fiber in it. It didn't have carbon fiber in it, but that's what it looked like, and I just thought that looked amazing. And the outsole pattern on the shoe was particularly fascinating. And I remember when I got the shoe, it looks like it would have super tread, but whatever that outsole material was going on with it, it would, if you were running and playing basketball on a dusty floor, I remember you'd have to like pick up your foot and like wipe it clean. And I remember like doing this a lot, like wiping my hands on my shoe and then wiping my hands on my pants just to like get that extra grip. I don't know if it's because the shoe itself wasn't that grippy, or because when it was super grippy, you really knew it and you wanted to have that extra grippy feeling. I don't remember exactly what it was about that, but I do remember having to like wipe the shoe as I'm wearing it, and then wiping it, and then you get ready to play defense. It was just an amazing shoe, and I even got to the point where I thought maybe I would try and buy an old pair, a new old pair, so buy some dead stock. It's not that expensive on StockX, so I'm still kind of like thinking about it. But you know, I told myself this week, no new shoes. I'm going to hold off till next week. Next week there's a whole bunch of new shoes coming out that I'm very interested in, so I'll probably be spending a lot of money next week. So I'm holding off this week, and I didn't buy any shoes last week too. So so just trying to maintain a little bit of discipline. But the weird thing is, so I was thinking and spending a lot of time reminiscing about that shoe and just life from 20 years ago. And then I got a call from an old buddy out of the blue. One of my oldest friends. I've known him since like the 5th grade, and he used to live up in Chicago with his wife and his kids, and they moved away a couple of years ago. And I kind of lost touch. He's one of those weird people who's never had Facebook, and like intentionally so. And so, you know, it's hard for me to keep in touch with him. That's like the only way that I can kind of like keep in touch with people is through social media. And apparently, like, he and a whole bunch of other people from back then had gotten together, and they were all reminiscing. He was telling me and keeping me up to date on all these people, and I was like, yeah, I know, because I see their pictures on Facebook or Instagram, and so I kind of keep in touch with people there. Even if I'm not like keeping in touch with them, like, you know, interacting with them in social media, I at least know what's going on. And so anyway, I was talking to him for a long time, for the first time in years. And like it's been so long that I had to go back and explain and tell him about not only baby number 2, who's 2 years old now, but also even going further back and telling him about how I went from kind of my second running story. I mean, he knew me when I was, you know, running track in middle school and in high school, but tell him about like stopping running for a while and then getting back into running again later. And so it had been a crazy long amount of time. So yeah, it was weird how like the nostalgia and the kind of things kind of collide all the same weird coincidences like that. So and the weird thing is the only reason I took the call, I didn't recognize the call on my phone. It was an area code that I didn't recognize. But one of my strange hobbies is to intentionally take calls from telemarketers and phone spammers. And the reason why I do that is because I just dislike it. I you know, like I dislike it even more than I dislike junk mail. And I just think it's a terrible waste of everyone's time. And I think that it's a horrible thing that people do. And so my thinking is phone spamming works, even though like occasionally people are getting yelled at and cursed out over on the phone. They might get like 1,000 like instant hang-ups right away because it's extremely obvious when someone's like phone spamming you. But my thing is, for the phone spammers, the plus minus is still there, right? So the idea that yes, we might get 1,000 no's, but we can find someone to phone scam or find someone to telemarket to that it'll work. And so my idea is to kind of flip the ratios and keep that person on the phone for as long as possible. So that way for that person, if their goal or quota is to hit like 20 people an hour or 30 people or 40 people an hour, really screw that up. And so that way it becomes extremely unprofitable for that one person to be working, or for that one company to do business. And I think that like the idea is if I just make it extremely unpleasant for them or extremely unprofitable for them from a time versus money perspective, that makes me feel good. And now that's of course a waste of my time, but it's something that I actually strangely enjoy doing. And I like getting a rise out of the people on the other end who initially called me trying to spam me, and then it's me just intentionally wasting their time. So I thought that this phone call was from one of those numbers, but it turned out being an old friend and a conversation that I really enjoyed having. The strange thing is, if I knew it was him calling, I probably would have ducked the call, because that's just, you know, how I am. I don't like phone conversations really. But I'm glad that I took the call, and I'm glad that I talked to him, and it was really good to catch up. Something that I don't do with people nearly enough. So definitely a really great way to recharge and kind of like encapsulate the end of this week of at least this weekdays of running, and this whole theme of kind of recharging and recollecting myself and getting ready for kind of the next push. So that's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching today's video, everybody, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?